Hello everyone, how are you doing? I'm gonna do my best to... Actually, I was gonna say I'm gonna do my best to stare at the camera while I talk, but I can just, do that. It's like I have Twitch stuff on my monitor that I can press and do things. How's everyone doing? Hey there, Tomorrow. Hey there, Shyness. Hey there, Rain. Hey there, Base to Oblivion. Hey there, Gigglestone. Hey there, Andrew. Yeah. Hey there, Kiram. How you doing? Oh, hey there, Jappio. Hey there, Shyness. That's the second time you got two. I hope you're all doing great. I hope you had a lovely holiday season. The last time I streamed was, I think, early December. I went to visit my family in my hometown for like 3 weeks, and it was really nice, really cozy. Damn, you're greedy. Yeah, big and greedy, huh? Currently making a horrible test voxel engine. Oh yeah, I think I've seen that in my Discord, yeah. You were posting screenshots about that. I've been super busy the last couple of days, so I haven't been the most active, but I have seen the pictures, which is really cool. Yeah, but I hope you're all doing well. It's definitely been a little while. I always find I'm a little bit more stuttery for like the first couple minutes of like a stream after a while, so please bear with me as I remember how I'm supposed to talk to strangers on the internet. Yes, I have seen the voxel engine. I do look at that server, surprisingly. But yeah, I hope everyone had a lovely holidays. I enjoyed myself. I got some big news. A couple weeks ago, I talked about a project that I was hoping to get funding for with a friend, Brian, you might know him. We were hoping to get some funding to start working on a project, not the voxel game, but something else, something smaller and more maintainable and more achievable to turn into a commercial product. And over the break, I haven't really said anything. I was basically just saying hello to everyone. Over the break, we secured investment for the project. So I'm gonna be swapping over to working full-time as an indie dev for this year, which is so incredibly exciting. I'm really beyond excited about it. So that's awesome. I put in my almost a month notice at work because I didn't really want to screw anyone over. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I realized that chat's not visible. Hold on. I can grab... Is chat even working? It should be. Hold on. Yeah, it's working. Okay. Do not talk to strangers on the internet. Congrats. Wow, congrats. Congratulations. I'm proud of you. Thank you so much. I'm really excited. Hold on. I'm gonna quickly copy the chat to my camera screen so I'm not missing it. There we go. And let me make it a little bit bigger because it's kind of scrunched. There we go. Now we got some chat, at least a little bit there. I know it's not the most visible, but yeah, I'm just sort of still in shock and awe about the whole situation. I never really expected to get that. You guys, I don't know how many of you have tried to be actual commercial indie developers, but we were seeking funding for months, and there's basically no opportunities right now in the public sector for getting funding to bootstrap a project. Everything is just, we'll give you money if you're pretty much already done. And it's okay, I understand from an economic perspective why they're avoiding, investing in projects that haven't proven themselves, why they're avoiding investing in projects that can still very, much just stop existing, right? But, that kind of defeats the purpose of an investment, doesn't it? If you've already made the game, then can't you start selling the game? Why do you need more capital? Just for marketing? I feel at that point, just get a business loan. But yeah, we managed to find an investor that was willing to give us a shot, and yeah, we've been super gearing up towards working on that. I'm starting officially at the end of January, and I think it's going to be a really exciting change. I'm really excited. And I'm excited to stream through it as well. I'm not going to stop doing Zepha development streams, but I do want to start doing some streaming about this project as well, because I think it'll be really interesting. And yeah, I hope you're all interested in being along for the ride. But obviously this stream is still going to be Zepha. I didn't clickbait you. We are so back. Yeah, hell yeah we are. You look really happy speaking about it. I'm really happy. This is like the biggest change that's ever, like, that's happened to my life, I feel like, since I went to university 4 years ago. It's just like it's really just a moment, you know. You kind of get caught up, I feel, thinking about yourself as just like somebody who will one day do something. Like I find it was far too easy in the past for me to imagine like actually accomplishing any sort of like commercial project as a thing that would happen far in the future when I'm either more mature or I have more connections or whatever. And like I feel like you never actually get to the point where you think, oh, that could just happen like any day now, until it does, you know. And now that we've gotten this opportunity, it's like I wasn't prepared for the idea that could just happen at this stage in my life. Like I feel prepared, I feel capable, and I'm not worried about like our ability to get the project done. It's just something where I was like, I never thought this would happen, you know? Like I never thought I'd end up getting funding for a project directly out of university, but here we are. Can you reveal anything about the project? Yeah, sure. So we're still in very early development. We don't have any demos to show yet, but it's basically a co-op, team-based party game, sort of like Jackbox, where you control the game with your phones and you have a big monitor up front. Both teams control a giant robot, and you pilot the robot and attack and do combat things by doing little like WarioWare style micro games on your phone, either alone or in like co-op interactions with other team members. And then as you go through, you collect like resources from successfully completing the mini games, which let you buy stuff at shops to upgrade your robot or get like relics and stuff. And then eventually both teams face off against each other, and the last team standing is the winner. So it's basically like a little party roguelike micro game mashup thing, and we're really, really passionate about the idea, and we think it'll turn out really well. What did you miss? I was just talking about the fact that me and a business partner got funding to develop a commercial indie game for a year, which is super exciting. New year, new feature. Hi, by the way. Hey there, Nick. Sounds like an amazing time you had and will have. I'm very happy for you. Thank you so much. OMG, I wish I could get to that point too, like get a dream job. I'm really like, okay. It's one of those things where it's like, yeah, so we've secured the ability to work on this project for a year, and we're confident that we can get the game done in that year, but there's still so much to do, right? Because we need to make sure that in that year we release a commercially viable product that can like continue this game development journey, and that's definitely like been at forefront of my mind for the past few weeks. You know, we got the investment confirmed like a week and a half ago, and we were in negotiations before that, so it's been on my mind for most of the holiday season, just like, okay, not only do we have to make this thing, but we also have to make sure it sells. And so I'm definitely like a little bit stressed about that, but I'm confident that if we make a good product and market it right, then it'll be good. And I'm confident that we can make a good product. So, yeah. Thank you so much. But yeah, today we're unfortunately not going to be talking about all that exciting stuff, although I do want to get to that during streams at some point. I definitely like to do some development stream stuff covering the project as well, because, you know, it's not like there's any NDAs, it's just me and Brian working on this project, so, you know, we can publicize development, and I very much like doing that. I love doing live stream development stuff, and I think that doing it for a project that's a lot more immediate will be really exciting as well. Like, you know, Zepha is really fun to do dev streams for, but it's also like, sometimes people ask me when they can get their hands on the project, and it's like, well, sometime, you know, maybe a couple years. I don't really know, because I don't have like a solid deadline, and I don't know how long it's going to take to handle the remaining technical problems. But with this project, like, it's we're really confident that the game will be good, but technologically, it's not very challenging to make. Like, it's mostly just we gotta churn out the content and, like, make sure the networking doesn't suck ass, but we're already, like, fairly far along in the networking stuff, and content is just content. Like, it takes time, but it's not like it's, a challenge that's never been done before. You just gotta make stuff. So yeah, whenever it's done. Yeah, that's definitely the vibe that I end up giving off for Zepha, for sure. It's like some point, whenever I actually get it finished. But like this project, it has a deadline. We have a roadmap. It's like we're gonna release it on a schedule, and I'm not gonna reveal that schedule quite yet because we're still figuring out how things work. I'll be more confident revealing that at the end of January when I actually get a feel for like how much time I'm going to be able to dedicate to full-time development of this project. But pretty soon we'll have a pretty concrete idea of exactly when this game's going to release, and we'll have like a Steam page and all that other stuff that actual like commercial game projects have. Hey there, Smarty, how you doing? It sounds like an interesting control system. How will the smartphones and screens communicate with each other? Client server? Yeah, so we're building the whole thing in JavaScript and Node, so we're basically using Socket.io for the interop between the server and the clients. The server is hosted like in the cloud, although something that like I'm very passionate about because I care a lot about like games not becoming abandonware that you can't use anymore, is like we definitely want to have a clause in our like actual game agreement that if the project ever ends up being defunct, we open source the server software and release it. Because there's so many cool projects that you just can't play anymore because the servers were controlled by a singular like service, and then they're just gone forever. Like one of my favorite voxel games ever, Sky Saga, is abandonware. You can't play it anymore because it was all online and they never published their servers, and we want to make sure that we don't end up doing the same thing. But we do have like account persistency and stuff that we benefit from having a shared server for, so that's what we're gonna do at the beginning at least. But yeah, I guess like if you have any more questions, feel free to throw them at me. I swear I can say TH properly. But yeah, let's take a look at the Zepha stuff a little bit. So where did we actually leave off? Because it's been a while. So I think what we did... Oh, my screen opened on the wrong monitor. Oh, I bet I know exactly why that's like that. Hold on. I bet that... Yeah, hold on. Let me make this my primary display. There we go. Okay. I took my entire computer apart to travel to families, and now that it's back again, everything's slightly different. Wait, project is not open source? You sound like a professional business person talking right now. I'm sorry, okay? I wish that everything could be open source. I absolutely love making open source software. I hate like living in a world where money is a factor that I need to worry about, but it is. Yeah, I can't imagine people looking at my code except at work because they pay me to look at my code. I like the free code review from the internet. It is always funny though how you get like a million different opinions all at once, like when you're writing something. You know, some people will be like, oh, have you tried doing it this way? And then other people will be like, oh, let's do it the entire opposite way. But I guess that's not that much different from work, actually, now that I think about it, now that I've got some actual work experience. Why did I choose the name Zepha? I'm terrible at naming things, so I asked my Discord server for name ideas, and Zepha was one of the ones that they came up with that I liked. I like that it sounds like Zephyr, like the creature. And I like the symbolism of it being like a cloud, like an air stream type thing. It just feels light and fluffy, and that's kind of what I want. I also think it's got like an interesting like alien twinge to it, which is cool because the first party game I'm making in this engine is a sci-fi game where you're on an alien planet, so I think it kind of aligns pretty well with that. Speaking of clouds, the color palette gives me Aether vibes. I hope that I can keep that going. Yeah, this is so this is like a pretty bare bones environment right now. I like the terrain, but I don't like the trees and stuff, but I like the color palette. This is like similar to the environment that I want to have for the first area of the game I want to make in this engine. I want it to be mostly like this in the daytime, but at night I want everything to be bioluminescent, like cyan, which is why I put so much energy into the colored lighting system a while ago. And so, yeah, I'm hoping I can polish that up and it'll be really nice. I'm so happy we got the leaf slaying back in. For a while, all of the plants were super static and it just felt sad, you know, but now it's like back up to working properly and it's cool. I like the softness, comfy feelings of the name. Me too. It's got like elements of softness and elements of like, you know, sort of more intensity to it at the same time, which I like. But yeah. Also, I still really like these billboard grass textures. I don't know. I don't know why I like them so much, and I feel the need to point them out every single stream, but they just make me happy. Like, they're just so interesting. You can't tell that they're like that from a distance, but they end up, like, they just mesh really nice. It's nice to always have the grass pointing at you. Okay, so, let's see. What are we doing here? So, last time we worked on the liquid system. Let's see if I have this working. I think it's schematic load water paste. Yeah, okay. And then if I grab my wand and I go set liquid Zeus default water. Yeah, so last time we worked on this liquid system, there's still a lot to be done with it as far as performance and rendering and stuff goes, but I want to take a little break from it because honestly I'm a little bit tired of working on it right now, and I ended up getting the self-directed, or not self-directed study, the animation course grade that I needed from it, so hell yeah. It is something I want to continue pursuing at some point, it's just I want to take a break and do a few other things. But yeah, this was the last thing we worked on, and then before that, let me quickly clear the water. Stop existing. And then I can also just clear this whole big chunky structure. But yeah, now that we've done that, I want to take a little circle back to the previous system that we made. We built a structure system for a different school project I had. If I go structure load Zeus default path X, I think it is? No, I think it's structure generate Zeus default path X. Nope. Okay, wait, hold on. What is it? Could not find structure matching Zeus default path X. Okay, what did I call it? Path X, Zeus path X. Okay. Structure generate Zeus path X. Yeah, okay, there we go. So, we built a structure system a while ago. Let me clear debug here. Where basically it's a jigsaw-based system which can create structures that basically tile into each other based on a few templates and like conditionals. And I did this for a university project where I wanted to test the ability to create counter-based parameters for structure gen. The idea being basically like you can do a jigsaw-like system to render your structures where like each structure has another piece that connects to other structures, but you can also have like constraints on the system that let you create more interesting things. So if I give myself Zeus, or I think rolled edit. Oh man, what is it called? Hold on, I need to remember what this is. It's been a while. Okay, give RE world edit origin. Okay, and then I go structure load Zeus path X. But basically the system works is this is a structure, and then each of these jigsaw blocks here can create other structures from it. So you can see it's got a ton of JSON data that's kind of hard to parse, but it allows other paths and elements to display. But it also, or to be like created, but it also has counters that it mutates when creating them. So for example, one of the functions of this structure here, is that crossroads can't be more than 3 tiles next to each other, or can't be like closer than 3 tiles away. And it does that using a counter. And that allows me to potentially create like much more interesting emergent structures. I don't know why the game is chugging so much right now though. It's kind of driving me a little bit crazy. Oh god, I'm so far behind chat. Okay, that is insane, Jesus. I think you said that about the water system, if I remember. Did you make all the textures by yourself? I really want to make my own art, but ended up being not really good at it. Do you have a background in art or something? I created a bunch of Minecraft texture packs back in the day, which weren't very good. And then I mostly just iterated on that. Like, I've always enjoyed making my own art, and I don't know, I guess it's more of a practice makes better kind of thing. Like, I'm fairly happy with how the art looks in this, other than the stretchy-ass UVs. And it was mostly just a lot of iteration and, like, creating things again and again that I feel like got here. So, yeah. How many words per minute do you type? You sound like you're around 90. I can type up to 140 if I'm pushing it. I would say I probably, on average, am around 100 when I'm just, like, coding, because it's not necessary to go faster than that, and also symbols are kind of annoying to type. And, you know, I find at this point I'm bounded by my thinking more so than my actual, like, typing when I'm working on an idea. But, like, if I do a typing speed test, I can get up to, like, 140 if I'm trying hard. I have a funky keyboard. I've got a ZSA Moonlander, which is one of those split orthographic keyboards. Ortholinear. There we go. Getting my terminology mixed up. And I really absolutely love it. Sup, hey there, Johnny. How you doing? Structure blocks. Yeah, it's similar to structure blocks. So the actual system for, like, placing the things next to each other is identical to structure blocks, but the actual, like, the counter system is unique, which I think made a big difference in, like, the flexibility of the system. Hey there, Darksoon, how you doing? I should fix my Twitch two-factor. I don't know why it started sending me SMS again. Oh, I hate when two-factor sends me text messages. Like, I am so fed up with two-factor. I hate the security theater of it all. I ended up swapping to a password manager a couple months ago because I accidentally leaked my only password at the time into my Discord server one day. Because I have this bad habit where if my display is off, I assume that the computer's locked, and then I just go up to it and type in my password and press enter before the display even turns on, because I just want to get in really quickly, and they're kind of delayed. And one day I did that when my computer wasn't locked and I was focused on Discord. And I just posted my password in the announcements channel. And so I ended up having a fun little adventure where I had to go change like 200 passwords in a week or some bullshit. And so now I'm using a password manager. And I've got it hooked up to also handle my two-factor. So whenever I try to sign into something, if I enter my password for something, it'll auto-copy the two-factor code, which means I don't have to worry about going and grabbing my phone, but that doesn't work if stupid things use not authentication apps. Like, my university has their own proprietary sign-in system that sends me a message, like a notification, to a specific app I have to have downloaded, and I hate it. I hate it so much. Yeah, that is one way of leaking a password. I was not very pleased with how that turned out there. That was a real zero IQ moment. I code so slow because I keep misspelling. I find, like, tab completion's really useful for that. Like, most of the time I just type, like, a couple characters of the variable I want and then tab complete. I don't know how people without IDEs handle that. Like, I think there was someone on the Discord the other day that was talking about, like, learning Zig. It might be one of you guys, and they were screenshotting Notepad. They were programming in Notepad, and I was like, oh my god, like, props to you, but I would actually want to die. Like, I need my fancy IDE features. It's just so annoying. Like, whenever I have to go and edit something on a remote server with Nano, I hate it. It drives me insane. I have 4 passwords and they're all variants of one of them with the words and numbers shuffled. Yeah, that's fine until one of them gets leaked, and then you have to realize the hard way just how many accounts you have. I thought that maybe I had like 60 accounts. I had like 250. I closed like 80 of them when I was changing them, because like so many stupid services I don't use anymore still had like my information on file. And it's like, well, I guess this is one way to like clean up your online presence. Can't imagine using Notepad to edit code. I can't either. It's a lot, I think. Your university has two-factor? Mine has logging me out every 10 minutes. It does that too. You see, it's this really funny thing where it just won't let you use it. It's just constantly logging you out and asking for two-factor. It's awful. I don't understand why they're so particular about it. Like, I get it for like the billing stuff, and I understand it for like, you know, changing your courses or whatever. But I have to like do all this authentication stuff just to see what my prof sent on Brightspace, and it's like, ugh, it's so annoying. I wonder what university was like before COVID got everything to be like hybrid online with dispatched information over like Brightspace and stuff. Like, did people just get like paper assignments in lecture? Like, that sounds insane. I have to use Vim for school sometimes, and it doesn't have autocorrect. I only have to use it when I'm coding in C or x86 assembly, so it's annoying. Yeah, props to the people that work in terminal editors like Vim, but I don't want to be one of them. I like my VS Code. I like my Electron apps. I have web developer brain rot. I really like the web stack, and I like that we've got all of these like super easy to manipulate and like customize tools nowadays that use the same frameworks and stuff. Okay, I should stop bouncing around and actually do stuff. And try to ignore the performance being absolutely shit. Or I guess actually what I need to do, first of all, is I need to actually make a schematic. So let's do that really quick. I want to build a little tree, and then get that tree spawning in the environment. We'll see how that goes. Because these, respectfully, these trees suck ass. So let's create just like a plane of grass. I mostly just use VS Code plus a language server, but every so often I make small programs without it, like when I was posting some Zig examples on Discord. Okay, wait, so are you the Notepad Zig person? Because, like, please explain to me, like, how is your first tactic, like, not to set up the language stuff? Oh, you didn't send screenshots. Okay, so you're not the Notepad Zig person. Okay. You have some sanity left. New tree, please also read last message. Oh, sorry. Do you create the structure generation parameters in a UI already, or how do you do this? Do you just write out JSON? Currently, I can create some of the information in world, but most of it, like using commands, but most of it is just me manipulating it in JSON. I want to get an actual interface when the GUI system is more polished. There's a lot of half-finished systems in this, which is kind of annoying, but... Where the hell is the branch called? Or created? What is its ID? Tree trunk, tree branch. Okay. You sent it via text code blocks. Okay. I was mainly just reading documentation at the time, so I was just pointing out some of the very weird syntax. Oh, okay. Cool. Pretty sure all video games are about 90% half-finished systems by volume. Yeah, I'd like to get a little bit more functional before I release Zepha to the masses. You know, there's a lot of stuff that's really just, like, not at all ready for, like, working, but, like, is still almost done. Like, I doubt anyone here has seen the lighting system, and it's almost functional, but I've got it disabled right now because when I swapped to Vulkan, I never bothered actually re-implementing the lighting rendering. It's just one of those things where you end up, like, not having, not putting in the work to just finish it off a little bit, you know? And also there's, like, some blockers that get to me. Like, I really get got by, like, oh, it's almost ready, but there's some technical hurdle that I just don't have the energy to figure out right now. For the light propagation stuff, it's that I haven't figured out how to, like, consistently delete the lights without ending up with inconsistent results. Or, I have a kind of idea for how to do it, but, like, it's not polished yet, and I don't want to fiddle with it right now, because I'm tired. I'm tired of working on systems that don't get finished. But I need to actually, like, buckle down and get stuff done at some point. Just creating a weird-ass branch structure. I'm gonna create like a poofy tree. I don't want it to be like an evergreen. I just want to make like a little tree. You should implement in-air block placing, like just at a fixed distance away from the player, like just like boop, 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 boop. Maybe. These tree branches are basically Minecraft tech mod pipes. They basically are, yeah. I think that's pretty cool though. Like I like being able to like place branches like this. I want to have a couple different sizes of them, maybe. I also have the leafy branches. I don't know what their ID is. They're defined in, not here. They're defined here, identifier branch, which is triggered by register leaves. Okay, so it should be called give leaves branch? Yeah, okay. So these ones have the leaves and they have the branch inside of them, which I think is neat. It kind of like blends the whole thing together. Could you make it so that the leaves extend their mesh to the branches? Oh, I think that's literally what I just showed. I think I just read that delayed, right? Unless you're talking about something else. I could have also made it just like a render constraint where like if there's a leaf adjacent to a branch, it renders as a leafy branch, but I think it's cooler with them being separate blocks. In general, I'm a fan of making stuff actual separate blocks if I can, because it means that you have more customization when building, which I think is cool. But yeah, these are definitely just like pipes, basically, but I enjoy that aesthetic. I just think they need like a little bit more, like, they need like knots and varying like thicknesses and stuff to really like sell the effect, I think. I think you becoming more productive sadly means streaming less. Did you model the branches individually, or are they also generated based on some rules? The branches, I can show it in Blender really quick. To respond though about the being productive meaning streaming less, that's not the case. I'm planning on streaming more about the commercial project I'm working on. Like I'll probably do a split between doing Zepha and that, but I do plan on keeping the weekly schedule going. Let me just try and find this file. Where the hell is it? Hold on, assets, models, block foliage? No, that's not gonna be it. I'm lost. Commercial. Well, you know. Where the hell is it? It's probably in assets, game. It's one of these. I think it's block 2. Okay, Blender. Blender just crashed. Nice. Really? Well, okay. I'm not gonna fiddle with trying to figure that out right now. But basically the model for these is there's about like 6 different parts of the mesh that are each of like the extents of the branch. If I go into wireframe, you can kind of see it's got the center and then like the edge pieces around each side. And they're all in one mesh, and they have like render constraints that say only render if there's like another branch or like tree type block adjacent to them. Yeah. Wow, I just saw that one IK 40 minutes on Twitch and one ad? A what? Wait, I'm confused. Let's see if I can get this going. Oh, I just saw that one ad. I saw one ad after 40 minutes on Twitch, and on YouTube there was 2 ads every 5 minutes. Is YouTube really doing that? Oh my god. So YouTube recently did a thing. So, I guess, like, for those not in the know, I got monetized on YouTube recently, which is cool. I can actually, you know, start pulling in a pittance of income from YouTube, but like that is somewhat helpful, especially now that I'm going self-employed. But they recently got rid of all controls for ad frequency and timing. Like, you used to be able to position the ads and say how frequent you want them to be and whatever, and now it's just gone. They released like a press statement saying, oh, we've simplified our ad options, and by simplified they just mean they got rid of all the options. You now have a button that just says, do you want ads? Yes or no? Company's getting greedy. But I'm also greedy, so what can I say? Yeah, you can't control ad placement. You can turn them off, that's it. I think you might be able to go in after the video has been made and manually delete like specific auto-place ad points, but I don't even know if that's still a thing. But I definitely can't control them on Twitch, or I mean on YouTube. Or Twitch, for that matter. Like, I think I can snooze an ad, particularly if, like, it's happening at a bad time. But I have to go remember to do that. I have to open, like, the web interface for the stream. And then I have to go press it, and then it snoozes it for, like, a hard-coded 10 minutes. And then it's back to wanting to show an ad. And that's, like, the only form of control I have, other than just turning it off altogether. Okay, so our tree's looking a little bit floppy, a little bit like Charlie Brown Christmas Tree-esque, but we'll fill it in a little bit more. I want to try and get the base here so that you can actually kind of see the branches like a decent bit, like if you're looking up. Because one of my favorite things about trees in real life is like they look so solid from the outside, but if you look up from the bottom of them, you can often see quite a bit of their internals. Like I'm a little bit of a tree fan, if you will. I like looking at trees and nature and stuff, and I like looking at how they kind of grow and form. I think they're really pretty, and I want to try and capture a lot of that in this game. Obviously, this tree is not going to do an absolutely excellent job of that, because I'm kind of just building it on stream here to test a feature. But like, I'm hoping in the actual full game I get a lot of like nice-looking foliage and stuff, because I don't know. I care about that. It's one of those little things that I think makes something really come together. Like, we need some more density over here. I don't want to make it all, like, uniformly filled, because, you know, trees often have, like, thinner and thicker areas. But I want to give it, like, a believable amount of body. Like, this large of a gap is kind of odd. I should get, like, a leafy branch here, and then maybe, like, that, maybe? Yeah. And then I want to kind of keep its shape a little bit more like puffy, as opposed to, you know, a few spikes here and there, and then nothing on the in the gaps. Does this role-based mesh decision process take place every frame on the GPU or once in the CPU? It's just per chunk update. It's generated like on the CPU, so it's kind of like a weird thing. The CPU meshes stuff. But at this point, I'm doing a lot of deferred rendering stuff. Or sorry, not deferred rendering, vertex pulling stuff. So all of the actual, like, loading of the vertices and the vertex data is done on the GPU, but directing the GPU what faces to render is done on the CPU. So it does the computation based on the neighboring blocks on the CPU, and then it tells the GPU, hey, you should render this type of thing here, and then the GPU actually loads that and renders everything. Get a little bit more tucked here. Trees are really awesome. I love trees. Autocorrect is really messing with your typing. Yeah. It would be cool if you added some smaller branch meshes inside the leaves that don't have a branch going through the middle. That would be interesting. I'd have to, like, configure that, I feel, so that it doesn't just, like, show them in every single leaf. But I think that would definitely be nice, yeah. I want a leafy branch here. And here. But not here. Alright, I think... it's kind of weird that it's just, like, barren into the middle there. It's not perfect for sure, but I don't mind this tree. Oh yeah, look at that. There's also an optimization that I do as well, where the branch will, or like the leaves will become opaque if they're surrounded by other leaves, which I think is a nice little effect. I kind of want to, like, not have branches on as much of the extremes, you know? I think this could also use a tiny bit more volume here. And maybe like a block or two here. But yeah, I think that's a good-ish tree. Pop off the extreme blocks here. Yeah, I like it. Alright, now we need to find the bounds of it, which I believe are like here. Yeah, and then if we go over to here, here. Oh no, you redeemed the ears. I don't even know where the ears are. Oh wait, no, I have it behind me. Okay, one sec. First ears of the year. Haven't worn stupid ears on the stream since last year. Look at that. What an incredible, groundbreaking moment. Hey there, Kathy. How you doing? I need to go find my stupid ears timer. Green screen nonsense. One sec. Timer. 1 hour. Start. Pop that out. Where's my capture for it? It needs to be right here. Transform, reset. Where is it? Hello? Window capture? Ah, there we go. Okay. Now let's crop that in. This is my beautiful technology for rendering a timer. It's just go to Google's timer thing and then green screen it, chroma key it out. There we go. Yay ears. Damn, alpha calculations on the GPU being so expensive makes me sad. Can't imagine the smoke effects if it weren't. It's not that the alpha itself is expensive, it's just like the ordering, like the sorting, that's expensive. You could use per voxel RNG to determine whether or not a leaf block should have small branches, but then it would have branches every time you place a block there, so maybe you should make it time dependent as well. I like that, yeah. I'd like to have some more blocks that just have like random rendering quirks. That just like happen sometimes. Okay, so we have that. Now let's give ourselves an origin. Cool. Then I'm gonna go structure set bounds. Cool. Structure select. Yeah, good. Now let's go replace air. No, wait, hold on. I don't remember the exact command. So let's go, first off, structure set name tree. Structure save. Did it save properly? Yes, okay, good. Yeah, ugly JSON blob structure, got it. Okay, now let's go and try and make this work. Replace air void. Cool, so this is very ugly, but it's just saying that within all of these spots, any block that was already here will not be interrupted from being placed. So, oh, and we also need an origin, which I guess will have to be under the tree. Built-in world editing tools. Yeah, I'm really happy with the editing tools here. Replace void. Okay, so we'll get that there. Then I'm going to need give attachment. Give fixture, I think it's called. Yeah. I don't remember how this works, so I'm just going to save the structure. So hold on. Do you plan on making your world editing tools more visual and interactive? I hope so. I want to make them more sophisticated. I'm really curious to look at Axiom. I know people are really liking that in Minecraft, but I haven't actually looked at it yet. Yeah, I do want to make the world editing tools more sophisticated. We'll extend one down. Nope. Expand one down. There we go. Structure set bounds. And then I think if I go over here, I need to go, set origin? Set source. Does water still do the corner hugging thing? Yeah, it does. Hashable data as a seed to random number generator that's going to be really useful for world gen. That is really cool, yeah. Axiom's pretty cool, but it does have its downsides. You could learn a lot from what they did wrong. Yeah, I love looking at like what other people do and getting a idea of what to do myself. For this like mod, it's specifically called World Edit, and I want to keep it as close to the functionality of World Edit itself, just because I think it would be nice to have a similar thing to World Edit. But I don't know if that's going to be something that I continue to use. Like, it might be something that I make and then just go, yeah, it's done, and then I make a more sophisticated one that I actually recommend using, because I would like to have more sophisticated like environment editing. I want some voxel sniper-esque stuff where you can like place big blobs of stuff as well. Okay, set fixture source has an identifier. Okay, so let's try that. We'll go structure set source Zeus default tree. Cool, so now that's a source. And then I think there's like an offset thing. Let's go into the JSON file because I don't remember what it is. If I format the document, so this is all of our nodes, and then there's offset, but that is just our, that offset's just the offset from the origin to the actual region. I think the source might need an offset. Maybe. Oh, depth. There we go. It's placement. That's what we need. So let's go up here. It's placement, type rigid. That's good. And then we'll go depth 1. And that should give it the depth that I want. So it'll be in the ground. The next extension of your console should be to display all available commands with a filter. I would love to do that. Although I think that's going to wait until I actually get the GUI system working. I want to get like an actual terminal pop-up, like chat box down below. My idea for the like the later game terminal stuff is I want to have so there'll always be like a engines wide drop term probably, where like if you press some button it'll drop from the top and it'll just be dark and it'll have like the text box just for like debugging and stuff. But then for the actual like chat and commands window, I want to be able to have like a tabbed chat interface in the bottom left that has like a tab for, oh, like player chat, server messages, command feedback and stuff, that automatically filters and colorizes stuff based on where it's supposed to go. That you can either display everything from or like display only the player chat or only the commands or whatever. And I want that to be in the bottom left, and I want it to, like when you open the chat, I want it to get like dark and display as an actual window, or otherwise display as like an overlaid history that like fades out like Minecraft. Alright, so now that we've got this structure, I think if I point here and I go structure generate Zeus default tree, doesn't work because it can't find it, because I just called it tree. Structure generate tree. There we go. Okay, so we got our tree. Lovely. And you'll see that because I put it all in structure voids, it didn't erase the grass blocks here, even though the structure technically goes down one. Oh, but I bet it's got air underneath. Yeah, hold on. We need to set the replacement here. Let me first actually go structure load tree, and that should update its placement type and depth and stuff. And then I want to go structure replace with Zeus default dirt. Yeah, there we go. I think you missed the top of the tree and the structure source. Nope, no, it's here. My stream view shrunk? My stream view? Whoa, huh? It should be fine. I think whatever that is might be on your end. Hold on, let me just... Yeah, it looks normal to me. Okay, so now we have that replaced with, if we go structure save, and then now we come over here. Let's actually put this on like the side of a ledge so we can better see the void behavior. Let's go structure generate tree. So you can see it didn't cut off any of the ground, but it did make this dirt. Clear debug. Hey there, Trixon. Oh, it's usually ad blockers not keeping the window size but still hiding the ad. Ah, right, because Twitch does that thing where it shows, like, it moves the stream to the corner. Alright, so there's a tree. So yeah, I would be happy to have this generating... Why is the bottom block outlined in red? It's just the structure debug information. If I go structure generate tree, you'll see that it puts a yellow box around the entire structure that generated, and the red is effectively the attachment point that it started at. If I create a more sophisticated structure, like structure generate Zeus path X, you'll see that this is where it spawned, and then additional attachments are like all of these rainbow blocks down here. Currently these display at their actual true height, but the structure itself conforms to the generation. So you'll see that it's below where it's actually positioning itself, which should be changed. When it places the terrain higher up in the world, I want it to actually start from the higher up spot, because otherwise it's less optimal to like identify where it should be placing stuff. But you can see that it still generates like an entire little warbly structure through the world. And then those are just debug things. If I go clear debug, they all go away. This system is powerful. I'm really satisfied with this system. I'm looking forward to doing some more stuff with it. I want to create trees that are actually like generated using the jigsaw system, so they're not just like one template, they're like a bunch of little pieces that attach to each other. Do you use awk trees for doing the raycast from the player to the block? From the player to the block? Not currently, I just do a regular iteration. I'd like to eventually represent the data as like, maybe not awk trees for like the blocks themselves, but I know I want to mess around with like an awk tree type setup for the meshing at least. I might end up optimizing the raycasting, but it's not actually very expensive. Yeah, raycasts are pretty cheap. Like, ray tracing is expensive because they're doing it for every single pixel, but like, just a single raycast isn't that bad. So yeah, now that we've got the tree generating in JavaScript, the time is now to make it actually generate in C++, which I'm not super looking forward to. So these trees are generated using the C++ map gen, right? There's a reason they look like shit, and it's because the map gen one is currently broken for anything that is not just a single column, and it also just isn't using the system at all. I still need to make it actually generate using like a more sophisticated algorithm that we've created in JavaScript, so that's going to be super fun to port over. Let's go over to the generation code, and we're gonna go over to the map gen. C++ time? Yep. Oh boy. Okay, so right now our structure system, it's generate chunk decorations, where a decoration is considered basically a structure that can exist at mapgen with parameters. So like, if I go search the code for decoration, not that one, it's probably biome. Yeah, decoration is a registry, which has the ability to add decorations where they have a structure. Oh. Wait, Wait, are these already the new structures? I don't think so. Hold on. Tree, small, leaves.json. Yeah, no, this is not the same thing. This is the old structure format, and it's a lot more primitive. Like, if we can check between that one and this one... let me quickly collapse all this shit, because you don't need to see it. So this is the old structure system. Basically, it has a size, it has an origin, it has nodes, which are just indexed into this array, and that's it. Whereas this one here is, it has a name, which is for generating, it has size and offset, it has a placement type, it has all of the identifiers, the nodes is a list of those identifiers again, then also has metadata and fixtures, which determine where it can generate. And it's going to be a little bit more complicated to get working over in C++. Do I know how many lines of code there are in the project? I think it's about 50,000 last I checked. It used to be up to 70,000, but things have gotten a lot more concise recently. That's one of the weird things with like programming an engine like this, is oftentimes removing code is a mark of success, right? If you can end up still having the same functionality with a lot less code. But it's kind of difficult to count because there's a lot of things that are like spread across. Oh, like there's code in TypeScript, there's code in C++, there's lots of code that's like frameworks for getting the TypeScript to compile and stuff, and like type definitions that I don't know if I want to include, and there's shader files and stuff. So it's not like easy to just do like a count lines of code thing in the directory. Like I can try, if I go to source and like count lines of code, that's 21,000, but that's definitely not right. See, it used to be a lot higher, and I feel like it's... Hold on, CD games, what if we count lines of code in here? But that's going to include build files, so that's not going to be useful either. Okay. Yeah, it's difficult to actually figure out without like creating a really sophisticated count lines of code algorithm, or like filter. Why do I use the identifier Zeus default leaves instead of just Zeus leaves? Well, I have 3 parts to an identifier. Basically, so the reason that I have that is a lot of the original mod namespacing stuff was based off of Mindtest, which I think was recently renamed to Luanti or something. And they've had a long-standing problem with name collisions, where basically, like, 2 people will make a mod called crafting, and then you'll have like 2 crafting tables, and then they can't exist at the same time. And also, it makes it really hard to do dependency management, because, like, you know, if you say crafting is my dependency, you don't know which of the 2 it actually means. So because this game is going to have like an actual built-in content database, I wanted to make sure that the names could be unique while also not preventing people from using names that make sense. So the last segment of the path is the actual item, or like the structure or whatever it is. The middle segment is the mod itself. And then the left segment is either a user ID, which would be uniquely assigned, or a game ID, which would also be uniquely assigned. So there's only allowed to be 1 Zeus, but there's as many default mods as we want as long as they have unique namespaces. And you always claim your own username when you create an account. So like, I'm gonna register the account Ari for myself once the content database is set up, and then that'll be uniquely me if I'm making stuff that's not attached to a mod, or sorry, not attached to a game. So like, for example, the World Edit mod isn't meant to specifically work in Zeus, it's supposed to work in any game, so it's just under my user title. Whereas if I was to make a mod for specifically Zeus, that wouldn't make sense in any other game, I'd put it under the Zeus namespace, which I've registered as a game. It's basically just, yeah, to dedupe and make it clear what you're actually referring to. There are about 20k lines of code in my project, but to be fair, I have a bunch of really big tables. Yeah, I'm not sure where all of the code actually went. Like, there's definitely more than 20,000 lines of C and C++ code. Unless I've done a far better job than I thought deleting used code, like, not used code, but I don't think that's true. I think I need to figure out how to actually identify that properly. Maybe I'll post like an actual number in Discord once I figure that out for sure. Shameless plug to Discord at the bottom of the screen. By the way, do you have a better camera than you used to a while ago? No, I just cleaned up the settings a bunch. Like if I go into the camera configuration and I reset it to where it used to be, you'll see it's not nearly as, where is it? I think I had brightness jacked up, and then I had sharpness not on at all, and I had like auto white balance on, and it looked like this. You remember this camera? This beautiful, beautiful camera? Turns out you can actually make cameras work. Wait, no. It saved the settings. No, wait. Shit. I thought it would, if I press cancel, it wouldn't save. Hold on, now I've got to fix it, because I'm stupid. Oh, wait, no, it is fixed. It's just, I'm confused now. I'm officially confused. Well, I think it's fine-ish right now. But yeah, fiddling with your camera is, shockingly effective at making it less garbage. I wonder why Minetest had an identifier collision problem, but as far as I know, Minecraft mods don't have that issue very often. It's because Minecraft mods aren't as composed. Like, so I think the difference is more how mods are used between the two. Like, for example, in Minetest is a lot closer to my engine and how it's structured, where everything's a mod. So, you know, crafting, like having a crafting system as a whole is going to be a mod. It's not part of the engine. And so in Minetest, you get multiple mods that are implementing a crafting style API, and all of them are just called crafting, because it's kind of hard to, like, give them a quirky name when all they do is just let you craft stuff, right? And also, for a long time, Minetest didn't have a content database, which meant there was no centralized place to check if a name had already been used. So a lot of people independently made mods that did the same thing without even knowing other mods existed and just chose the obvious name for it. Also, Minetest has the concept of subgames, which are basically just like, you know, entire games that have a collection of mods. And so what you would often get is like, oh, there's some crafting mod made by some person that's public and everyone uses it, but every game slightly alters it to like support whatever weird crafting system they want to have, but they don't change the ID, so it's still called crafting, you know? And so you end up with this horrible, impossible network of duplicate things that have the same name. It's about time for namespaces. Godot will also get these soon, hopefully very soon. Class state is being overused. I've never actually used Godot. Is it a problem with namespacing? Like, I assumed that you didn't really have much, like, you know, objects and stuff from other things like libraries conflicting with your actual, like, first-party code, but maybe I'm wrong. I love the old camera. I love the olden times. I kind of like it, but it does make me look a little bit like a corpse. I don't know. It's a little bit ghoulish, I think, sometimes. Or perhaps a little bit more ghoulish than I'd like people to think I am. Ooh. Yeah, so this is our old structure. And we want to actually make it use the proper structure. And I'm just trying to think of how to get this going. So we have this whole structure.create system, which is from the engine, I believe, and it just creates a structure. And I think basically what I'd like to do is allow it to create either from a path or I want it to basically be able to go, like, instead of this json.parse fs.read string here, I want to be able to go structure is equal to structure.create static Zeus default structure tree small leaves.json, like that. I guess this technically also should work, because it's just like collecting the structure JSON from the file and manually loading it, but I don't want to force you to use the file system stuff in json.parse if you don't want to. And I'd also like you to be able to just literally enter in like the actual body JSON there. Godot makes no difference between global types and classes and globals. It's a mess. Oof. Question, do you do raycast through every block in the world or just around the player? I'm not sure what you mean. Like, are you talking about like for pointing your cursor at stuff? Like for knowing what block I'm actually interacting with? That API, if I go to player.ts, we have raycast result, but where is it used? Where is this used? Okay, yeah, there's this raycast method exposed by the dimension, which takes a position, a direction as a quaternion, and a maximum distance. And this will return a raycast result from it, and it's handled by the engine. So it only raycasts when you tell it to, and only up to a specific distance. Does it have any other properties? Oh yeah, it lets you choose if you want to be able to get nodes or entities or everything. Never had namespace issues in Godot, but I think it's because the only library I've ever imported is Jolt, and my programming style tends to minimize name collisions. Also use C# instead of GDScript, which helps. Yeah, I imagine that creating it in a different language, or like using a different language from what most things are exported as probably helps. Does it like actually namespace them as like GDScript whatever, or is it, like I don't really know how the multi-language support works in Godot. Which I'd be kind of interested to know about, because I'm hoping that because I'm using JavaScript and V8 as my modding API, that I can support using WebAssembly as like a modding language. Like I want to be able to write mods in Rust or like some other language. One of the people at my workplace is getting me potentially interested in Haskell, and I hate them for it, but it's interesting and I want to know more. It's like the dark arts, you know? But there's no goddamn way I'm going to change my engine's language at this point. But if I can write mods in a different language, that would be pretty cool. Why are you casting the entity position as any in raycast? It's just because right now got a stupid thing where... Oh, is this actually fine? Okay. Yeah, it doesn't like my types. So Zepha has types for vec3s that are kind of more constrained, and I'm using a library GL matrix for my vectors here. I need to basically make the types for the vectors more generalized on the engine side. That's why I'm casting them here. Because like this is the engine's vector type, which is just it's an rvec3, which is a number, or an indexed collection, which is just it's effectively just a general type for a, what's it called, like a fixed type array, like the uint32 arrays or whatever. And the library that I'm using for handling vectors doesn't like it, and there's just a whole bunch of nonsense. It's just type stuff that I need to fix. Haskell is so interesting. I know next to nothing about it, but I've been learning about like the combinator stuff, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of neat. Haskell is rewrite in Haskell. No, I'm not doing that. Like 3 years ago, I considered rewriting the entire engine in Rust, and then I started that, and after a day, I was like, nope, this will literally have me consuming my entire life just rewriting this engine over and over. I just need to commit to it, you know. Where are these messages? With C++, everything is implemented as class overrides, and I have no clue how that works internally. Fair enough. I do know that you can get Godot to use C if you're comfortable writing .dlls, which is often useful, but you have to use C# as an intermediary to do that. Yeah, I've heard that Godot really like hamstrings its higher performance functionality because it ends up just like controlling everything through the lowest common denominator, which is GDScript. Like, it will allow you to write in higher performance stuff, but everything is shimmed through their like heap allocated structs and stuff, and that makes me kind of sad. I I'm writing my engine in Rust. Well, I'm envious of you for starting out in the right way, but I started this out when I was 18, and I did not have enough brain cells to choose a good language. I mean, I don't think that C++ is a bad language for this. I just think there's a lot better options nowadays. I'm on the 12th version of my engine, oh my god. I mean, if I was actually versioning them, I don't know if I'd be that much different. But yeah, that's a lot. Feels kind of sad that Godot has a performance ceiling, if you can call it that. Yeah, it's a shame. I mean, like, that's why I'm not a super fan of, like, really low, like, unoptimized languages for things that might need to be super performant. Like, it does kind of bug me that the way that WebAssembly works is it has to go through JavaScript glue to get anywhere, which means that, like, even if you write your code in, like, a super high performance language, my engine's still gonna get it down to the same heap allocated nonsense. I think there might be ways to get around that nowadays, which I'm curious to look at, but yeah. Okay, attempt. Fair enough. Oh man, I've gotten so absolutely sidetracked. Okay, wait, what am I actually doing here? So we're trying to generate the chunk decorations using the structure system, which is not going to work right now because the structure system uses an old format. So the first thing we should probably do is actually create a native representation of what structures should be, which can then be used in the mapgen. That's probably what we want to start with. So let's look at the structure type def, which is somewhere, a structure type. Yeah, this is the type definition for it, and let's copy it over. I don't really need that. Let's copy this over here and comment it out and basically implement a JavaScript version of it that can store all the same data. I think Godot does expose like lower level APIs that don't go through the normal node tree system for most of the engine. Not sure how good that is though, I've never used it. Huh. Good morning, Brian. How you doing? Okay, so we've got a structure class. We're gonna have an orientation, which let's just call this... There's no way of doing, like, identity, rotate 90, rotate 180, rotate 270. There's no way of, like, just giving them numbers as the enum name, which is so annoying. I might just change it to R270 because that's, like, a little bit less dumb. Which makes me think this should just be R0. Fine. That's fine. That's fine. Okay, so we've got our orientation, which is mimicking this. Then we also need an enum class for counter behavior, which is going to have inherit, shadow, or update. That's for doing the counter logic. Basically, if two structures define the same counter, inherit means that it will not reset it, it'll just use the parent's one. Shadow means it'll define the parent's one, or it'll define the child's one as a separate thing. And I believe update means that it will erase the parent one and set a new value, maybe? I should actually confirm what that does, because I don't remember. Where is update used? Oh boy, okay. I have no idea where to find this. I guess it would probably be in here. Or no, it would be in generate. Update? Yeah, okay. So set counter, when it inherits, it ditches, it skips if it already exists. Yeah, okay, update will set the value unless it doesn't exist, in which case it creates a new one. Inherit will take the current value and create a new one with the set value if it doesn't exist. And shadow will always just create a new one with the initial value. Yeah. Okay. I love Godot, it's so comfy and I feel like they focus on the right things, but it's sad knowing they won't surpass Unity in performance. They might one day, it just means they'd have to put a lot more effort into it. I'm actually curious, do you guys use GDScript? Like, do you like Godot's Python stuff? I hate Python syntax so fucking much. How do you handle block orientations? In my engine, I have an orientation struct that's 8 bits that specifies the block orientation and axis flipping. I'm not planning on handling that on a... or I kind of am. So, I have this data thing. Basically, blocks can use this thing called mesh mods, which determines how they get mutated on the GPU before they're rendered. And it's an enum. And it can either just use like random stuff, or it can take data from a data attribute, which is passed into the GPU, which is up to 8 bits. And I plan on having like an orient horizontal low and orient horizontal high for using like the lower 4 and upper 4 bits, and then like an orient full, which uses all the bits and can do like more funky rotations. And then when you... it'll probably check what mesh mods are present to figure out how rotation should work for individual blocks. But right now it doesn't do anything with that. So if a structure's rotated and there's like a directional block there, it'll stay in the original direction, it'll just change its position. I love GDScript because I can go var my vector is equal to vector2, 0.5, 2.0 and stuff. I put type hints for better warnings and errors. But like, you can do that in any language. Like I can just go like, let v is equal to vec3 or vec2 0.5 2.0. You know, that's fine. You can even do like this if you want to have it be more concise. Sounds like my engine has a lot of metadata. It does, yeah. Most of this information is serialized data from either JavaScript or like flat files that gets converted into data structures in C++. And then like there's very little programmatic stuff except for like entities and events and stuff that happen. You might be able to bypass the need for JS glue code and WASM, but it would have the same limitations that JS does, mainly that you can only pass numbers and now external refs. So for things like strings and structs, you'll have to pass pointers and use it to manually extract from the WASM's memory. That's fine, though. Like, most of the time when you're passing data, it's just going to be numbers anyways, right? Like, there's not that many... Like, arrays of numbers are kind of the perfect implementation of everything. As a Python hater, I love GDScript. Interesting. I feel like I should thank you for making me want to learn Vulkan. Once it's set up, it's so much easier than OpenGL, and learning it has paid off massively for what I'm doing. Oh, I'm really happy. I'm really happy that you're enjoying Vulkan. It was one of those things where I was scared of doing it for years. Like, I knew it existed, but I just kind of thought I wasn't good enough to actually learn how to do it. And I kept working with OpenGL, and I kind of realized the same thing as you. It's that, like, yes, OpenGL is easier to get started with, but it's harder to maintain if you want to keep doing more complicated stuff. So I'm really glad that you were able to get the same experience. That's great. I'm happy for you. Now we just need to get like OpenGL fully deprecated. Although I think that's what's happening on its own anyways. From what I've seen, it's been going the way of the dinosaur. So our structure needs to have a name, which I guess I'm going to call identifier, because that's effectively what it is. Unless I'm stupid. No, I think identifier is correct. Size is going to be an unsigned vector 3. Offset is going to be a signed vector 3. And then instead of having identifiers be an array and then nodes be a number array into the identifiers, we are in fact actually going to store the nodes just as their direct node IDs. Because the reason that we have identifiers and nodes be a separate thing here is so that we can store our identifiers in a way that is numerically, like, it's sound. It won't end up changing all the blocks if a new mod gets added. like all of these nodes here, it's like 0, 1, and other numbers, but that's just indexing into this identifiers array. But at runtime, we have stable IDs for all of these blocks. It's just they're not guaranteed to be stable between runs of the game. But since this structure type is only going to ever be used during actual runtime, we can just directly store the identifiers here. Which I think there's like a type for this. Yeah, I want to start doing that more. So we'll have the nodes there. The meta... I don't actually remember what the metadata is for. What do I do with the metadata? Oh, the metadata is just metadata for nodes, isn't it? Okay. So let's take a look real quick at how I store that in the chunk. So it looks like it's a map of positions to vectors of bytes for the metadata because it gets converted into binary. So yeah, that makes sense. So let's do that. Although, do we actually want to convert it to bytes here? I think so. So one of the things that we want to do is, as much as possible, we want to pre-compute all the complicated math and like the operations before we get into the generator thread. So if we have metadata that is as a string in the JSON file, if we can convert it into its binary representation before it ever goes to MapGen, then we can just copy the bytes as opposed to doing that conversion every time we place a tree or whatever. So yeah, I think having it be defined as its actual serialized format in here is for the best. Okay. I have no idea what the hell force place is. Oh, wait, that's some of the old code. Okay. Yeah, let's ditch all of that. Okay, so we've got our meta. We're gonna need our placement type, which is going to be enum class placement type. And it's going to have either rigid or terrain matching. And we're also going to have a U or an I8 placement depth, which will start as 0. Okay. And then we're going to also need our fixtures. Fixtures are basically the attachments. They're like Minecraft's jigsaw blocks, effectively. So we're gonna need a class for fixture, or a struct at least, which is going to contain a position. So sorry, to be more specific, each fixture here references an attachment point that is in world displayed as like a jigsaw block. So it's basically just the position that the fixture runs at, and then a source and attachments. So source is basically if it can spawn stuff at its position, so like if it can either generate from this point or be attached to by something else at this point. And attachments is if it's meant to spawn into other stuff. So for example, our tree that we just generated, it has a fixture here at its root that has no attachments because it can't spawn anything else. If we wanted to have it have roots or something, then we could potentially attach to some root structure. And then its source is this identifier, which determines what the structure ID for its source is. And then weight is basically for weighting it against other structures with the same identifier. Initializers is for counters. But yeah, so basically our fixtures... Oh, and you'll also notice there's no replace with here. Like, you know how in the game we had it set so that the jigsaw block would replace with dirt when it's placed? That's just a visual representation of the data. Like, it's not actually a thing where, like, that is stored in the structure. When you save the structure to its JSON file, it replaces the jigsaw block with whatever its replaced with value is in the nodes array. and then it just creates a fixture which is in a separate spot so it doesn't like overlap in a weird way. I don't know if that was coherent. Please ask me questions if that didn't make sense. Okay, so we're gonna have a source, which is going to be a optional and a attachment, which will be a vec fixture attachment here. Okay. Now we're gonna need those structs as well, which I think actually we'll call them source and attachment because they're gonna be namespaced in fixture anyways. So source is going to have an identifier, which is going to be a string. Eventually we're gonna want a vector of strings that has tags, but not today because that's not programmed. And we're gonna have a weight, which I think will make a floating point value. Currently, we don't assume that you can have decimal weights, but there's no technical reason not to let you have that, so we're gonna keep it for now. It might be useful, you know, if you've got a lot of things from a different mod that use very small weight values and you want to very finely control the weight of your structure relative to it, like say that each of those other mod structures have a weight of like 1 or 2, and you want it to be like only 1/10 as common as everything else, then you might need to go to decimals, because you can't change the weightings from the other mod. And then we're gonna have initializers, which is gonna have to be its own structure. Yeah, so we're gonna go counter initializer. This is getting very nested. We might move this out to here, and then struct counter mutation. Those are gonna be two things that we have. The initializer creates a counter, so it's gonna take an identifier for the counter that it's supposed to create. Then it's also going to take a behavior, which is going to be a counter behavior for how it handles nested counters. And then it's going to also take an expression, which I guess is going to be a string. I'm not super comfortable with that. It should probably be an expr, which we have in the code base elsewhere. But we'll see. I wish everything were just JSON. If anyone could parse it, interpret it, and modify it and save it, it would be so nice. I mean, technically, we could just load the JSON. I have a library for loading JSON, but I want to be able to have this be, like, super performant. Like, for example, actually having an identifier as a string here is kind of making me feel a little bit squeamish. Ideally, in Engine, we should be converting all the identifiers just down to, like, indexes. But I think I'll leave it as is for now, and we can optimize that a little bit later if we need to. I have this in the background while working on my Love 2D game. Oh, cool. Alright, so let's also define the mutation, which will mutate a counter, and it's going to have a condition, which is also a string. Yep, this is a sign. If you have a lot of strings going on, that's a sign that you're not optimizing your types as well as you could be, in my opinion. But right now we're just trying to get this working at all, so I will forgive it for now. Okay, so back to our source. Now we need to have a vector of initializers. I'm currently working on a sky for my own engine, but I'm having some issues. How does yours work? If you're talking about like a sky box, I'm currently just rendering a cube with a texture on it. I can show that. Just give me 1 sec to make this code compile. Actually, wait, no, it won't compile. Hold on. Let me stash everything. Let me just build this real quick. And I'll showcase what I mean. it's interesting to me that like a lot of games use actual sky spheres instead of sky boxes for their skies, because as long as you keep a box like always based on the view position, there's no way of being like telling that it's not a sphere. Like there's lots of games that actually create a spherical skybox, whereas this is just a square. And you can see like there's no way of telling that it's not actually like a proper shape. But if I zoom in really far, you can see the pixels. And if I find the gap, you can see those are quite... Yeah, right there. That's the border. You can see the pixels are going like up. That's like the seam right there. But if you're not super zoomed in, there's no way of seeing it. My idea was to just use a plane that's rendered behind everything and fake it using shaders. You certainly could do that. That just means you're going to be bound to doing shader level stuff for everything, right? This engine, like, it could definitely be more optimal if it was doing something shader-like instead of just, like, having a cube. But I'm trying to do as much stuff in engine, or, like, with the API that I've created as possible. And right now you can create a screen space aligned object that has a mesh and a texture, and it functions perfectly fine for doing this, so that's what I ended up doing. How do you hide the fact that it's a box? Well, the texture itself is distorted, right? So, like, the texture itself is a cube map of a spherical texture. So around the perspective seams of the box, like where it gets narrower, the actual texture itself changes to account for that. So, like, there's a seam, right? And if you look, as I zoom out, the clouds are bigger around this edge than they are in the middle. And then as long as it's always fixed to the player's position, your perspective on the box never actually changes. So as long as your texture looks right at that perspective, like imagine, like, have you ever taken a laser pointer and pointed it, like put it right next to your eye pointing outwards and looked at the shape on the wall? I did this recently. There was like a laser pointer that made like a butterfly effect, so it was actually like a coherent form. And I put it like right next to my eye, closed my other eye, and then like pointed it out and looked at it against the wall. And even if you like shine it so it's half on something really close to you and half on something really far away, the image looks perfect because you're looking at it from the same perspective that it's being projected onto. That's basically the same theory here. It's like there was a sphere at some point that the skybox was pasted onto, and it was projected onto a cube shape. And because you're looking at it at the same exact angle that it was projected on, it's impossible to tell that it isn't just the right shape. Like, it's not like we have depth perception for, like, video games, right? It's just, you know, a 2D projection. Yeah, you like the lavender? I'm glad you like it. Oh, I can show something funky there. I really like the lavender as well. It's my favorite flower of the block of them, which is why I use it way more than all the other ones. I like the little stupid puffs as well, but I think the lavender is nicer. I have some code for testing like block placement performance, or if you place lavender, there's a chance it just spreads forever with different colors and stuff too. It also shows off the random orientations of the blocks. But yeah, it's just gonna grow forever and ever and ever now. It's a horrible plague. Yeah, they're very wiggly. I might want to tone that down a little bit for the lavender. Or at least maybe like increase the scale of the wiggling, because it looks a little bit strange. It just looks like a carpet right now. I think it's kind of interesting how these are actual 3D models, like with a discrete rotation and stuff, whereas the grass is currently just billboards. I thought initially that I would like find that really uncanny and strange, but I think it actually blends really well. It lends more significance to like the actual flowers that have presence. I did put some work into making sure that like the swaying of the planes that are like screen aligned is still based on where they should be swaying in world coordinates. Like you can see that these are swaying right, same as the flowers. If I come over to this direction, they're swaying backwards, same as this, right? Like it's not like they're just like swaying in an arbitrary direction. They do match the swaying of the actual non-billboarded models. Oh god, it's fucking everywhere now. Is it still going? Yep. That one stopped. The wiggles make them look like tentacles? Oh god. Do you do text rendering by hand or via FreeType? I do it via FreeType. FreeType renders signed distance fields for the text, and then I render them using that in a shader, and it's super buggy. Or I guess it's not actually buggy, it's just the rendering of the GUI as a whole is buggy. Like if I start typing up here, it looks quite odd at certain angles. It's hard to demonstrate, but like the blending of the textures is sort of strange at some points. Yeah, like you see it's kind of like overblown here in a weird way. But like the actual text loading is just using libFreeType and signed distance fields. Oh yes, thank god the swaying isn't screen space based. That would be awful. It was awful. That's how it worked initially, and I was like, nope, this can't stand. There's a reason why all of the mesh mods have a discrete ordering. Like the order here matters. Because it does all of these things, like specifically in the shader in order. So you can see the billboard is almost at the end. It's after all the offsets in the position, because it would be weird if they were offset according to the billboarded position. That would be super strange. But then the sways are both after that. I'm glad people like the flowers. I want to have like a wide variety of pretty foliage. I think it's cool seeing the task status running, showing that like there are chunks being meshed elsewhere. I don't know where, though. Oh, it's over here now. Watching so much about voxel engines, and I caved and started my own project finally with OpenGL. Thanks for also helping out on it. Oh, that's great. I'm glad that you're starting a project, for sure. Like, oh man, I love creating voxel stuff, and it's super cool when like more people do things like that. I'm excited to see what you create. Do you have like an idea for like a specific game, or are you just are you creating it like to be a general engine, or are you just creating like a tech project? Like, what's your motivation? Why is the cobblestone texture squished? It's just stupid UV stuff. Like I'm using greedy meshing, and when I swapped over all of the mesh stuff to the GPU, I didn't figure out the math for figuring out what way the UV should stretch, and it's kind of broken right now. Because so basically the issue is that the texture, or the blocks will get stretched across like whatever axis that they're in, which depends on like what the side of the face that was being greedy meshed is. But then on the GPU, it just has the U and the V coordinates, which are in two-dimensional space, and I don't necessarily know if like positive U equates to positive X, or if like negative V equates to negative Y or positive Z, you know, because like that just depends on the positioning of the vertices themselves, not based on like the texture coordinates, because you can UV a texture at any orientation on a face, right? Regardless of what orientation the face has in a world. There is a way to determine it. My matrix algebra skills are just really shit, and I wasn't really thinking about it at the time, and I still haven't got around to fixing it. But like if I pop this out, so there's just one cobblestone, like the texture is fine on its own, it's just when it gets UV'd it gets super fucky. Wouldn't you just pass the 3D UVs? 3D UVs aren't really a thing. Like, because UVs are the position that you look up the texture, right? So, basically what I need to do is translate the delta in the U and the V to a delta in X, Y, Z, and then identify how that maps effectively. So it'll either be like a positive relationship or a negative relationship along each of the spanning axes, which I think are also two-dimensional coordinates, which change based on what the face direction is, which makes it more complicated. And then once I have that mapping, I can encode it in the face data and then use it in the shader to stretch the texture properly. But I don't like doing math. I seem to remember doing a bunch of hacky stuff with a bunch of modulos in the fragment shader, but I don't remember how I did that. That is how the textures tile for the ones that worked properly. It's just the like actual translation between stretching to UV coordinates isn't quite right. Oh no, I know UVs are 2D and like one is bottom right. I do know basic GLSL. I just thought that maybe passing the 4 vec3s of the face makes it possible to scale correctly. So, yes? Like there is enough information to do it properly. I just don't know yet how to do that. Like I just need to think it through and I haven't put the time into it. I do have the information to make it work. I just need to do the conversion. Oh fuck. Hey there, Toffee, how you doing? Why would you do this to me? Okay, fine, I'll fix the ears timer, let's reset that. So far I'm just making a scuffed voxel world to learn OpenGL. Afterwards it'll either be an engine with small modding capabilities or an attempt at a game. Maybe I'll be allowed to use it as my thesis. Oh, that's super cool. I've, totally been freeloading a lot of this project, as like a university thing. Like I've currently done like 2 final projects just on this engine, like doing stuff for it. I even did like the structure generation stuff as an entire course. It was a self-directed study, and I was able to just do the structure stuff as an entire like credited course. Like if I go structure generate Zeus path X. Like this whole structure system with the jigsaw blocks that we're currently very slowly working on implementing in C++ instead of JavaScript was my, like an entire course. Oh, thank you, Dunn. Happy affiliate anniversary, thank you. I don't really know, I guess that's just the thing that Twitch does, huh? Like it says, oh look, this is your anniversary of making money. I wish my university would let me do that. I've had to convince English teachers to let me do programming projects as an excuse to actually write code. Are you in like a coding university program? This is something that only opened up to me in later years. It's quite possible, like if you're early on, that you might have opportunities like that later. My university also really does not like make people aware of that option. Like it seems like they don't like people knowing about it because it requires a specific professor to specifically like sponsor you and figure out what the hell you're actually doing. But a lot of universities have programs like that. It's worth checking if you have like some sort of self-directed study thing. Computer science degree at a state university. We have a lot of theory courses. Oh god, yeah, theory. Theory almost made me drop out. I'm fine with theory if it's at least somewhat related to what I'm doing, but so much of the university for computer science, or like my university's computer science program, is just calculus, and that's it. And I don't really like calculus at all. I hate calculus. I hate it so much. It's not my thing. Like, it's good to know, but god, some people just fucking... They got something going on in their heads. They like calculus on too intimate of a level. It drives me insane. I hate it. I hate it so much. Did you do the connected textures using bit masks? Oh, you're talking about these textures. No, they're not bit masks. They're runtime, like, basically it determines if there is a different block type here that has a lower data value of a certain type, and then it will place an extra plane there. It's kind of, it does use bitwise logic, but it's not just bit masks. How much calculus do you have? I have a calculus class in 1 semester and then never again. Fuck you. I'm kidding. No, I had to take like... There was 3 calculus courses, and then there was about like 4 other courses, maybe 5, that were just glorified calculus with like some programming flavoring. My least favorite was numerical analysis. It was about numerical analysis, of calculus-style problems, but it just ended up being all calculus. Like, it was just, implement all these things by hand. And I was like, oh my god, I just want to write code, damn it. I ended up passing that course with 4% above the minimum grade to pass. So that was a fun little moment. Could have been very bad, but I'm done it now. I don't have any more calculus in my entire degree because I'm on my last semester, so, I made it through. I only have math left to graduate and it's not going well. Calculus, yeah. I made the mistake of doing my last calculus class after not doing calculus for 2 years, because I front-loaded some of it, hated it so much that I was just like, I'm not going to do this again until I absolutely have to. And then trying to remember how to integrate stuff was a challenge. Yeah, that was not good. If you can front-load your calculus stuff, you should, because it just gets it out of the way and you don't have to think about it anymore. Calc 3 is optional at my university, replaced it with set/proof theory. That stuff's actually interesting, though. Like, I love logical arithmetic, like with sets and unions and things, and like implications and like truth tables and things. That's super cool. We had a math course that was like that, and I loved it. I just hate all the numerical integration stuff that I'm never going to use. Like, I'm not going to manually integrate this second-order linear differential higher-order equation. I don't need that. I'm not, like, studying rocketry. I'm making a video game. But that's the thing is, like, computer science, you either take software engineering or computer science. Software engineering is so practical it hurts because it's just, like, it's not actually teaching you the underlying fundamentals of how programming works. And computer science is like, oh, you want to be a scientist, don't you? Well, time to learn all the science. It's like, oh, I just want to know enough to have like a deep understanding of computers and not math. But, I'll take what I can get. I'm done now, so. Gödel's completeness/incompleteness is a bit of a nightmare. I don't remember that one specifically. I don't know if we covered that. Got an A in first year calculus, forgot I took it, then did it again for the credit and got a D. I'm sorry, that sucks. Oh man. I have more math classes this semester, linear algebra, and 2 semesters stochastics. I don't think I ever did stochastics. I did linear algebra, it was pretty good, but my prof was not very good, which made it difficult. Starting semester 7, still missing Calc 1 and 2 and numerical analysis 1 and 2. Oh man, wait, semester 7, I assume you're taking 3 semesters a year, which means you're in 3rd year? How have you not done Calc 1 and 2 yet? Can you just do them in any order? Calculus scarred me, managed to pass on my 3rd last try to the exam 2 days ago. Well, congratulations! I've definitely scraped by with like 52% on math exams before. I guess the nicest thing I can say, or like the most hopeful thing I can say about that is if you get to the point where there's no more calculus courses, you never have to think about it again. Which definitely kept me going. It's always a huge relief to just barely pass, for sure. Like, it's like, oh, thank God. I don't have to think about this anymore. I'm glad I chose software engineering over CS because I've seen how much math upper year CS students have to do and it's way too much for me. The downside is that first year engineering is extremely general and I had to do truss analysis. Yeah, that's similar to my school. If you want to do engineering, it's like, oh, okay, you're an engineer, which means you have to learn all of the first year, like physics and chemistry and whatever, which was a large part of why I didn't take it. I also just, like, I feel like it misses out on a lot of the theory stuff. There's a lot of cool engineering courses that I never took that seemed quite interesting and practical, but, like, I feel like they, like, I wouldn't have learned about, like, lower-level assembly theory and, like, there was one, like, Foundations of Computer Science, which just went over a lot of, like, the decidability and halting problem stuff and a lot of very interesting things like that, which I feel like I wouldn't be able to see if I, did just do engineering. But, like, yeah, they're both terrible programs in their own way, is basically the way that I'd describe it. They're both like, oh, there's some good parts and a lot of really bad parts, so. I failed Calc 1 like 3 times and in the meantime landed a job, so I'm taking like 2 classes a semester. Ah, that makes sense. I stretched out my final year here because I got offered a full-time job, which I've been working at for 8 months. and was slightly crushing my soul because I like doing my own stuff, and it's really hard to motivate programming when you get home when you're also working programming full-time. But I literally, like, just a week or two ago, my business partner Brian and I solidified an investment for building our own game dev studio, which is super, super, super exciting. I covered it a bit more at the start of the stream. I won't go into super detail about that because I think a lot of the people that heard that are still here. But yeah, I'm going to be working full-time as an independent game developer for the next year, which I'm really, really excited about. I put in my resignation at work, and I'm just like, oh, this is going to be amazing. Thank you, and yeah, thankfully that was the last one. Funnily, the second and third math modules I passed before the first one. Interesting, you just, like, didn't like the specific material in the first one? See, comp sci is actually an engineering degree at my college, so the way you get away without doing engineering classes is you have to get a bachelor's of arts in comp sci, which is, that's weird. That's super weird. Yeah, like, for us, computer science is like, do you like math? And then engineering is you get the stupid ring. And both of which I don't really care for. Like, I don't want to do enough engineering to get the ring, and I don't want to do all of the math to be like a NASA aeronautics engineer. But of course, the graphics and game development specialization in my school is a subset of computer science, which means math is gonna happen. But it's over now, so. I got a 14% on my Calc 2 final. Somehow passed with a 70%. Oh my god, it must not have been weighted very high. I pulled some fucking bullshit with my last course. I took a computer animation course, and it had a 40% final project. And I need to get 60% overall in the course to pass. And so I got a couple chip marks for the project from like earlier like interim reports and stuff. And then I did well in the other assignments, and like the night before I had to cram for like 12 hours to make my final project's paper and video, I got the grade back for my most recent assignment and realized that I already had the minimum to pass, and so I went swimming instead of actually writing my paper. But then I submitted like an unedited 20-minute video showing off the water system, which is what I actually did for the project, just because I wanted the prof to see it, and that segment got 80%, and I was like, what the fuck just happened? Like, that was supposed to be an edited video with like slides and stuff, and I just recorded, like, I was live streaming, like, just an uncut 20 minutes of talking about the system, just with slightly less profanity, and I got 80%. It felt very wrong, but I wasn't complaining, you know. Congrats, I'm sure you'll make something amazing. Thank you so much. I'm hoping that I can show off some pretty cool stuff pretty quick here. Gotta go, nice speaking to you, bye, see you later! Failed the first module, but the order we do modules in doesn't matter, and I continued on and only now retook the first calculus. Oh, wow. Yeah, everything is super prerequisite bound in my school. It's like, you have to do everything in a very specific order. Oh my god, I need to drink some water. I think I've just been talking non-stop for like 40 minutes. You guys are gonna kill me. I remember when I first started streaming and I got like 12 viewers and I only had to answer a question like every 10 minutes. I'm in an animation course, but the prof clearly does not want to be teaching, so it's just bad Unity tutorials. Yeah. Research profs. I don't know. I don't like them. Like, it's cool that we have people that are doing research. But I feel like people should not be doing, like, just research if they're, like, employed at the university. My university actually got rid of almost all prerequisites between classes the very semester I started. That's really nice. I wish my university was more like yours. Okay, so we have our strict source, and we have our strict attachment. Attachments need an identifier, tags, weighting, and counters. Which is going to be a counter mutation. That's it, and then we finally need an orientation. Yippee, finally got a camera working in Raylib, Rust, now time to get a voxels render. Hell yeah. Orientation. Cool. Cool, I think this is the entire C++ structure definition. Wait, hold on, I'm stupid. Orientation is not in the attachment. Oh wait, no, that's fine. I already did it in the right spot. Okay, we're good. Cool. So that's our C++ version of the structure. At least a very, very primitive version of it. In fact, I should probably write up here. A lot of things here are still JSON strings computed at mapgen time. Ideally, these would get computed once and cached in an intermediary representation that's more optimal to process. And more optimal to use. Okay. Alright. Man, I'm slightly running out of steam here. I'm a little bit zorped. I mean, it's always one of those things where I have to build back up. I just dropped something down. Damn it, shit. I always have to, like, remember how to stream again. Like, it always ends up taking more energy the first time. So I might wrap up pretty soon here. I know we didn't exactly get like a ton done, which I'm sorry about. I'm just really tired, honestly. But I'm gonna be back to streaming weekly again, which is exciting. You know, after a couple weeks off. So hopefully you'll all join me for that again. Let's see, is there anything else I can do quickly here? I feel like the rest of this is going to be another large refactor, because I need to go take this new structure type, and I need to actually generate it over here. I guess I could just, like, lazily do some stuff here. I guess data is a real thing that I need to worry about as well, which I don't think exists in the TypeScript type def yet. Because, like, there's two concepts. There's metadata, and there's actual, like, node data, like, unsigned integers that you can attach to it. And they're two different concepts. And this one handles only the latter. And I think the new structure system only handles the former. To do. This is just awful. No! Oh, I wish I remembered what that was. Too bad it was written 17 months ago with a commit message saying something is happening here, I think. Why do people let me type code? I should not have been given the right to make code. Jesus Christ. Fuck. Okay. Am I gonna do anything else? I think I'm gonna wrap up for today. I think I'm gonna go get some snacks, and then I'm gonna do a little bit of stuff that I need to do for my school for my final semester, and just have a little quiet day for the rest of the day, if that's alright, if you'll forgive me. But I really enjoyed hanging out with all of you today. It's nice to be back to doing stuff. If you have any questions real quick, let me know. My streaming schedule is now going to resume, so it's going to be every Saturday at noon PST. Or, sorry, every Sunday. It's Sunday now. So if you would like to catch me, you can either follow my Twitch or my YouTube or whatever, or you can join my Discord, which is on the screen in the bottom right. I'm forgiven. Yay, thank you. I just lurk, but I'm glad to hear the weekly streams are back. Always good to work on my own stuff with this in the background. That's a super relatable thing. I know like lots of people that do that. I'm glad that I can create nice background noise for people. Thanks for being here today. Thanks for sharing your progress with us. Yeah, no problem. Sorry we didn't get much actual coding done. It was a very chatting heavy day, which I'm super happy with, but I always worry about people getting disappointed that it's mostly conversation. But I guess that people wouldn't be here conversing with me if they were disappointed about that, so, you know, we will just think that's a good thing. Yeah, you too. Very fun stream, thank you. Alright guys, well, I had a great time. Feel free to chat with me on Discord if you want to. Other than that, I'll see you next week. Alright, bye everyone. Have a great day.